Okay, so like I said, it was important that we saved the selection as a layer mask. We know it's a layer mask because the layer mask is hiding the rest of the background. I can tell that because if Paulina clicks on the eyeball for background, when I look at what's here or left on the layer above it that has the mask on it, I can see that I have in fact removed the background. Not removed, I'm hiding the background on that layer. Now I rarely ever cut or delete pixels because cutting or deleting pixels is permanent, destructive, and I'll never get those pixels back. 90% of the time when I'm trying to hide something, I use a layer mask because that's not permanent. It's merely hiding the pixels, it's not deleting the pixels. So just for your own Photoshop reference, whatever you do, try to avoid deleting pixels. Don't cut, don't delete. Always use a layer mask whenever possible. There are 10% of the time, there are reasons I have to not use a layer mask and I need to delete pixels, but this is primarily the way. Okay, so we have Paulina. Go ahead and load the background again. Let's show it. We're going to load the selection. So this is something that you just kind of have to remember. Hold down the Command key on your keyboard. So everybody's holding down the Command key. You're going to click on the layer mask on the background copy. The layer mask is the black and white little rectangle in the layer. So we're holding down the Command key and then we're clicking on the layer mask. And so what should happen is it should reload your selection. Yes? Everybody's selection is reloaded? Okay. Perfect. So we use the layer mask to reload the selection. We are going to hide the layer that Paulina is currently on. So go ahead and click the eyeball on that layer. We're going to click the background layer. And what we're going to attempt to do is remove Paulina from this layer. All I want on this layer is the American flag, because we want to center her. Now some of you may be thinking, Mr. Edwards, you're being too uptight. She's hardly off center, it's not that big a deal. And you're probably right, but this is a skill that you should know when you need to do something like this. So, all right, here we go. So number one, in order to actually remove her, I need to expand my selection enough beyond her that it won't leave remnants of her on the background. Does that make sense? So she's already selected. We're going to go up to the select menu at the top of the screen. Top middle. Select. There we go. Going to modify, and we're going to expand our selection. Now, how much you expand your selection by is going to depend on your resolution. And since I'm working with Paulina's original file, her resolution is probably higher than the resolution of the file that I gave you. So we're going to start with 15 pixels, and I'm going to see what it does to Paulina's screen. Go ahead and do it, yeah.
Do I apply effect?
So, everybody can go ahead and expand by 15 pixels. So if I look at your screens, you're actually pretty close to what's happening to my screen. Okay. We're not quite far enough, so we're going to expand the pixels again. So go ahead and do the same thing. Select, modify, expand. Paulina, did you already expand it by 15 pixels again?
No.
Do it again.
So like 30? Wait, do I have to put like expand by 30 pixels?
Yeah.
No, because you already expanded by 15 pixels once, so if you
So-
expand it again by 15 pixels, it'll just go bigger.
Got it.
Okay, so that looks pretty good. There are some areas over here where her flyaways might start to get into the flag and make it look a little strange. We can fix that elsewhere. I'm not particularly worried about that. What we need to do now is we're going to go up to Edit, Content Aware Fill. Fill, not scale.
Yep.
Up 1, 2. There we go. Yeah. So we're doing a content aware fill. Okay. So as it tries to figure out what's behind her, which is kind of what it's trying to do right now, it has to take a look at the rest of the image and say, okay, well, I think this is what's supposed to be here. It's kind of jacked on hers. She's got like blue American flag down here. She's got like misaligned stripes up here. So it looks pretty jacked. The area that it's sampling from is the green highlighted area. So currently, if I start painting with my brush, if you look in the upper right hand corner, it's currently on minus. Which means if I paint over here, I'll remove from its sampling area. So let's go ahead and remove the blue part of the flag from the sampling area.
Oh, do it on the back end. Yeah.
Okay, and it should update its preview in just a moment. There we go. Okay, so it's a little bit better, but it's still kind of misaligning the red. Trying to take a look at what options we could possibly use to fix that. We may have to do some adjustments to it afterwards, and so I guess I'll have to massage that a little bit later. So the key thing is that as we move her, we want certain things to kind of happen and disappear. So let's go ahead and accept this, hit OK. And you'll notice that it does remove her. Let's go ahead and hit Command D to deselect, or you can go to Select, Deselect, or there's, I think, a pop-up menu that should say deselect on it.
I don't know what's wrong with
Oh, look.
that. It's like not showing up to grade.
I'm doing
Yeah.
it.
Like, what's not possible? If I saw this picture, I would have known that there was a person.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you.
What happened with mine?
All right. Now the key thing that we need to be aware of is there was a feature in there when I actually said OK that said it was going to make this into a new layer. So the pixels it created are actually on a separate layer. So if she hides that, then her body's still there underneath the flag, which is actually going to create a challenge for me. So go ahead and hide that layer real quick. So you're still there. So if we put that back, I want those two layers to actually be combined into one so that I can kind of fix the problems that happened where it didn't do a very good job, right? Now I only need it to do a good job where she's not going to eventually be, right? So we'll figure that out in a moment. Right now I want to combine the background copy 2 with the background. So these two layers, the layer it created when it created the content aware fill, and the background layer. So you're going to hold down the shift key and select both layers. Now this is where you guys can either learn the keyboard shortcuts, which is how my mind works. I don't think about menus anymore, I think about keyboard shortcuts, or I can just show you where the menu is and I don't know. Okay, so in the layers palette, we have a submenu that has other features in it. So go to the top right-hand corner of the layers palette where the little hamburger icon is. Yep. Okay, so we have a bunch of options to do in the layers palette. One of them is to merge layers. The keyboard shortcut for that is Command E. I have that memorized in my brain, so my wife tells me I have tons of useless information in my brain memorized, yet I can't remember our anniversary, I can't remember dates that we go. To be fair, neither of us can remember our anniversary because the legal document in the United States says one thing, and we actually got married on a different day in a different country on a different day. So neither of us can remember which day it is. All right. Plus I have random movie quotes from like Nacho Libre in my head, and she's like, you have that stuff memorized, and you can't even remember that we're going out to dinner with our children this weekend. Yep, sorry. Long-term memory great, short-term memory sucks. Okay, anyway, sorry, too much personal information. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and show the top layer again. So now we have Paulina, and we're going to move her over to where I want her. So go ahead and grab the Move tool, which is the top tool on the tool palette. The little four, yep, looks like north, south, east, west. Okay, so that's the Move tool. She's going to grab that and she's going to move her. So you got to make sure that the background copy is selected. Yep. And we're going to move you to the right, and then just try to make sure the spacing looks correct between the left side and the right side. Yep, that's pretty good right there. Perfect. Okay, now for some reason my computer did a better job than Paulina's computer at replacing the background, so we are going to have to do a little more doctoring work to make this get fixed. So there are a number of tools that allow you to sort of fix the background. They range in what they do. So we're going to come over here to where the Band-Aid is. We're going to take a look at it. This it's called the Spot Healing tool. Okay, click and hold on there. Okay, here we have the Spot Healing Brush tool, which the computer tries to use artificial intelligence to select different parts of the image to replace whatever you're painting on. You don't get to select, you have no control over what it chooses, but it's quicker and the computer's pretty smart. Okay? Below that we have the Remove tool. We've already attempted to remove her, so that's probably not going to work. Okay? Below that we have the Healing Brush tool, which is slightly different than, it's like the Spot Healing Brush, where it mixes the pixels together, tries to match the values between the two, but tries to replace the image that's beneath it. With the Healing Brush tool, you have to select what area of the image that you're pulling from, and then it blends the two things together. So let's go ahead and try the Healing Brush tool right now.
Mr. Edwards.
Yeah.
Where's the undo button?
Well, Photoshop officially only has one undo, and that's Command Z. But you also have the History palette, which is right here. Yeah.
She disappeared.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's not like letting me like move her over the other layer. It's like moving her in between.
Because you need to deselect.
What?
Okay, just give me that.
It's not letting me click.
This is going to be a great video for them to watch. before I answer that and just tell the remaining 4 students speaking?
What?
We're falling apart right now. Okay. Lila and Cal, this is the point at which you're gonna have to stop the video and ask me in person. Okay, now I'm gonna stop the video.